Hey, gang. Hope you're well. This week I'm going to talk about culture and do the best I can. This week I've currently had COVID, like many people in Sydney where I am, and but I'm doing all right. I'm getting better every day. I didn't think I would miss the opportunity to chat with you and share some things that might help. So let's get started. The thing I want to talk about is this idea of the fact that for many of you, um, culture is something you feel like you can't do anything about. And if you think about yourself and how you feel about the culture in your team, think about how you feel about the culture in your organization, the culture of your leaders in your organization. Think about how you feel when politics is played in your organization or around you. Think about how you feel when people aren't direct with you and don't talk honestly with you and aren't upfront with you. So most people's aperture or avenue or experience with culture is in their feelings. It starts with negative feelings mostly. It's where their relationship with the people around them clash with what they think is important, with their own values. And they end up feeling, think about it for you when you felt frustrated or you felt disappointed or you felt, there's one of the words I wrote is that people often feel like there's a sense of hypocrisy, like you say one thing and do another. So think about those times when you're frustrated, you're disappointed, you can get angry, where you're not giving yourself 100% or you're not your true self. And there's a thing that we do as humans, which is that in those moments where we feel those things, we distance ourselves from them. And often what we do is we blame the system or we blame others or things we can't control. Well, what's the point? Because I can't control it anyway. And, then we start to put up with, the way your boss behaves, with the expectations of leaders around you. And then you sit within this system of KPIs and performance that that might represent a culture that you give up on, that you feel like you can't control, that you're just kind of going along for the ride. Now, the thing about culture is this can happen at the tiniest unit level. It could happen with the 3 people that you literally sit around in your office. And it could stretch then to the way your whole company behaves. And that's because of the way culture works and what it is. Because culture is essentially relational. It's relationship. It's the way we do things the way we do things around here, but it's the relational aspects between people, property, nature. It's not just people. It's the values that are represented in the relationships between elements within the system of the organization. So to give you an example, is the way leaders treat staff is represented. Every one of those people and those leaders and the way they treat their staff in your organization represents the culture of employee leadership, of employee engagement, of management, of leadership, right? The way your company treats the environment, treats nature, is representative of its values around the environment. And that's its culture around the environment. So it's inherently relational in terms of the way it works. So it doesn't matter what community is, it's the sum of the shared relationships in that community and what they represent at a value level. Now, why is this important? Because if we go back to my original dynamic around feeling immobilized by culture, feeling disappointed by culture, feeling let down, every one of us have a role to play at the smallest unit level, at the functional level, in the team we're in and in the organization we're in, but also in the society we're in. You know, so if you think about at the moment, the fact that we feel powerless about what's going on in the Ukraine, one of the things you can shift and change is, you know, to what extent do you bring about peace? Do you bring about good relations with the people around you, with your neighbors, with your community? How do you represent the values that you want to see with those people? Because that's culture. And so one of the easiest ways to think about culture, and I want you to do this exercise, is write down what you would say. If someone asked you, what is the culture of your team, whatever unit level you want to examine, so your team at work, your family at home, the community organization you're part of, write down what you would say is the culture. And then for the next 2 weeks, I want you to be aware and observe what you actually do. Not what others do, what you do, say, behave in relation to others. Pardon me. So, because that's culture. And then if we come back up to, if you do that little exercise, come back up to, you know, if you notice things that need to change, the first thing that changes culture is an inward shift. The inward shift creates external change. And so it's actually looking within after you've done that exercise around what you care about, where your level of awareness is, that creates that change. And it's only the systems and symbols and leaders' behavior that create the conditions for everyone to create an internal shift in their values. But that's what you want. You want a dominant majority of people to have a shift towards the values of that organization. It's like a variant, like a COVID variant, topical, isn't it? You know, it's what's dominant at that particular time in that the ecology of that organization, in the way it treats its people, property, nature. And you have control over it. So if you want to make a shift and you've noticed the way you're operating, realize that, you know, what you do as an individual, this is not about stress. What you believe, what you say, what you do as an individual has an impact over your team. It has an impact over your function, it has an impact over the organization. And then customers, suppliers, partners, and government relations are all part. And, you know, I could add on here, obviously, the environment as well. All of the relational aspects of how you engage with those things sum up to what the culture is at your organization, within your family, within your community. So for anyone who is out there thinking that culture has always been an abstract thing and they've never known what to do about it, you've always thought, man, it's just one of those things. It just sits on the shelf and gathers dust. I learn about it in induction, but it doesn't feel real to me. It should feel real within you, because those choices you make about how you engage with those different stakeholders and the people around you define what culture is. It's just sometimes you can't see it at the level you need to see it to see how that the impact of your behavior makes a difference. But know that it does. Love your work. Hopefully I'm better next week. I'll talk to you soon on the Reason on the Road.